My name is Amelia Parker, and I'm 30 years old. The moment my parents told me there wasn't room for me on our family's annual vacation was the moment I realized they'd finally gone too far. But here's what they didn't know when they left me behind. I didn't just own the hotel they were staying at, I owned the entire resort chain. And their perfect family getaway was about to become a lesson they'd never forget. If you've ever been the family member who gets left out, overlooked, or treated like an afterthought, this story is going to feel like justice served ice cold. Before we dive in, smash that like button if you believe in karma coming full circle, and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I love seeing my revenge story family from around the world. Let me paint you a picture of the Parker family dynamic. Imagine a postcard perfect American family, the kind you see in insurance commercials. My parents, Robert and Grace Parker, had built what looked like the ideal suburban life. Dad was a successful regional manager at a logistics company. Mom was a social media influencer with 50,000 followers who posted daily about family values and blessed living. Then there were their children. My older brother Kyle, 31, was the golden boy, married to his college sweetheart Brooke, 2 kids, a house with a white picket fence exactly 2.3 miles from our parents. He worked at Dad's company, naturally, and was being groomed to take over the regional operations. My younger sister Paige, 26, was the princess. Still single but perpetually dating someone who met Mom's approval, worked as a marketing coordinator at a nonprofit, and lived in a cute downtown apartment that Mom featured in her Instagram stories at least twice a week. She was artistic, social, everything a daughter should be. And then there was me. The problem child who'd never quite fit the family mold. At 29, I was the black sheep who'd committed the ultimate sin. I'd moved away. Not just to another city, but to another state. I'd started my own business instead of working for the family company. I'd remained stubbornly single despite Mom's constant attempts at matchmaking. And worst of all, I'd been successful on my own terms, which somehow made my independence even more threatening to their perfect family narrative. What they didn't know, what I'd carefully kept from them for 5 years, was exactly how successful I'd become. While they thought I was just playing businesswoman with some small hospitality consulting firm, I'd actually built Parker Hospitality Group into a mid-tier hotel and resort management company with properties across the Southeast. We weren't Marriott or Hilton, but we managed 23 boutique hotels and resorts, including the one place my family had been talking about visiting for 3 years, Serenity Cove Resort in South Carolina. The irony was delicious. For 3 years, every family gathering had included Mom gushing about this absolutely divine resort she'd found on Instagram. Crystal clear waters, luxury accommodations, 5-star dining, the works. She'd bookmarked it, screenshot it, made it her desktop background. It was her dream vacation destination. What she didn't realize was that her absolutely divine resort was one of my flagship properties. I'd personally overseen the renovation that turned it from a rundown beach motel into the Instagram-worthy paradise she'd fallen in love with. Every detail she'd liked about it in photos, the infinity pool, the oceanfront suites, the rooftop restaurant, I'd designed or approved. The yearly Parker family vacation had been a tradition since Kyle and I were kids. Every summer, we'd all pile into rental cars and drive somewhere together. It was one of the few times we were all together for more than a few hours, and despite our family dysfunction, I'd always treasured it. Even as an adult, even living 3 states away, I'd always made sure my schedule was clear for our family week. This year was supposed to be special. Mom had finally convinced Dad to splurge on Serenity Cove Resort. She'd been planning it for months, creating Pinterest boards, researching local attractions, booking spa appointments. She was more excited about this vacation than I'd seen her about anything in years. The call came on a Tuesday evening in March, 3 months before our planned July trip. I was in my Atlanta office, reviewing quarterly reports, when Mom's contact photo lit up my phone. "Amelia, sweetie, we need to talk about this summer." Her tone was different. Usually, when she called about vacation planning, she was bubbling with excitement. This time, she sounded careful, measured. "What about it?" "I already blocked out the dates. July 15th through 22nd, right?" "Well, that's what we need to discuss. We've had to make some changes to the plans." A cold knot formed in my stomach. "What kind of changes?" "Well, you know how we've all been looking forward to Serenity Cove Resort?" "Of course. You've only been talking about it for 3 years." "Right, well, we finally bit the bullet and booked it." "But sweetheart, it's quite expensive. Much more than our usual vacations." I waited for her to get to the point, watching the sunset paint Atlanta's skyline gold through my office windows. "The thing is, we could only afford to book 2 suites. The family suites that sleep 4 each. And with Kyle and Brooke's kids, and Paige needing her own space." My blood turned to ice. "Mom, what are you saying?" "We're saying maybe this year you could sit this one out. I know it's disappointing, but you're so busy with your little business anyway, and you travel all the time for work. Maybe you could treat yourself to a nice spa weekend instead?" Little business. The phrase hit me like a slap. My little business that employed 47 people and generated $12 million in annual revenue was being dismissed like a hobby. "You're uninviting me from the family vacation because there's no room?" "We're not uninviting you, sweetheart. We're just suggesting maybe this year isn't the best year for you to join us. Next year we can go somewhere more budget-friendly where everyone can come." Translation: we'd rather exclude you than ask Kyle and Brooke to share a room with their kids like normal families do on vacation. "Mom, I can book my own room. I can afford it." "Oh honey, we couldn't ask you to do that. It wouldn't be fair to make you pay so much more just to join us. Besides, this is really going to be more of a couples and family retreat. Kyle and Brooke need some time to reconnect, and Paige is bringing that new boyfriend of hers. You'd probably feel like a fifth wheel anyway." There it was. The real reason. It wasn't about money or room arrangements. It was about the fact that I was single, that I didn't fit their picture of what the family vacation should look like. "I see. I knew you'd understand. You're always so reasonable about these things. And honestly, sweetie, you'll probably have more fun doing your own thing anyway. You know how you get when we're all together for too long." "How I get?" "Meaning, how I get when they spend a week treating me like the family disappointment." "Right. Well, I hope you all have a wonderful time." "We will. I'll make sure to take lots of pictures for you." After I hung up, I sat in my office for a long time, watching the city lights come alive below. 47 employees were counting on me. I had board meetings with investors, strategic partnerships with major hotel chains, properties across 5 states. But to my family, I was still just Amelia who couldn't get her life together enough to deserve a spot on the family vacation. I thought about all the times I'd rearranged my schedule for them. The business trips I'd cut short to make it to Kyle's kids' birthday parties. The investors I'd rescheduled to attend Dad's retirement party that he'd ended up postponing. The contracts I'd negotiated over the phone from Mom's kitchen during Christmas dinner because a deal couldn't wait. None of it mattered. When it came down to choosing who belonged in the family circle, I was expendable. But here's the thing about being underestimated: it gives you a tremendous strategic advantage. I walked to my office safe and pulled out a folder I rarely needed to access. The ownership documents for Serenity Cove Resort. I'd purchased the property 2 years ago when the previous owners were facing bankruptcy. It had been a massive investment, nearly bankrupting my own company in the process, but the location was too perfect to pass up. Ocean frontage, established infrastructure, and most importantly, the potential to become exactly the kind of Instagram paradise that would attract guests like my image-obsessed mother. For 2 years, I'd poured money and attention into that resort. New buildings, renovated rooms, a world-class spa, restaurants that had earned mentions in Southern Living magazine. It was my crown jewel, the property I was most proud of, the one that had put Parker Hospitality Group on the map as a serious player in luxury resort management. And my family was about to spend a week there, completely unaware that their disappointing daughter owned every square foot of the paradise they'd been dreaming about. I opened my laptop and pulled up the resort's reservation system. There it was, Parker Family Reservation, July 15th to 22nd. 2 family suites, ocean view, premium package. They'd spared no expense for their child-free vacation. A plan began forming in my mind. Not revenge, exactly. More like education. I called Marcus, my operations manager at Serenity Cove. Marcus, it's Amelia. I need you to flag a reservation for me. The Parker family, checking in July 15th. Sure thing, boss. What kind of flag? VIP treatment. The full package. I want them to have the best possible experience. Awesome. Any particular reason? I smiled, looking out at the Atlanta skyline where I'd built my life without their help or approval. Let's just say it's a family matter. The next 3 months passed normally. Mom posted constantly about their upcoming vacation, sharing screenshots of the resort's Instagram account, countdown posts, outfit planning sessions with Paige. Her followers ate it up, commenting about how lucky she was, how beautiful the resort looked, how much they wished they could afford such luxury. If only they knew that the resort owner was the daughter she'd left behind. Kyle called me once during those months, awkwardly trying to explain the situation. Look, Mel, I hope you don't think this whole vacation thing was my idea. It's fine, Kyle. I understand you need family time. It's not that. It's just, you know how Mom gets about her Instagram stuff. She's been planning this whole aesthetic for months, and I think she's worried about what? A long pause. She's worried about how it'll look in photos if you're there without a boyfriend or husband. She thinks people will ask questions. The casualness with which he delivered this blow was almost worse than the blow itself. My own brother was explaining, matter-of-factly, that I was being excluded from family memories because my single status didn't fit Mom's social media brand. I see. Look, it's stupid, okay? But you know how she is. And Dad just goes along with whatever keeps her happy. Thanks for being honest. Are you mad? Was I mad? I was furious. But not in the way Kyle expected. No, Kyle. I'm not mad. I'm educated. July 15th arrived with perfect weather. I woke up in my downtown Atlanta apartment and checked the resort's system. The Parker family had checked in right on schedule at 3 p.m. They'd been assigned suites 412 and 414, my 2 best oceanfront accommodations, the ones with private balconies overlooking the infinity pool. By 4 p.m., Mom's Instagram was already lighting up. Photos of the lobby, the view from their suite, the welcome champagne that Marcus had arranged. Living our best life at this absolute dream resort. Sometimes you have to treat yourself to the finer things. The comments poured in. So jealous. You deserve this. Living the dream. If they only knew who was making their dream possible. I drove down to Serenity Cove that evening. It was a 5-hour drive from Atlanta, but I made it regularly to check on operations. Tonight, though, was special. Tonight, I was going to observe my family's vacation from behind the scenes. I parked in the back employee lot and entered through the staff entrance. Marcus met me in my office, which was tucked away on the third floor of the administrative building, invisible to guests. "How are our VIPs settling in?" "They're loving it. The mom has been taking pictures nonstop. The dad's already made friends at the pool bar. The son and daughter-in-law took the kids to the beach, and the daughter is at the spa." "Perfect. And they have no idea?" "None whatsoever. As far as they know, the owner is some anonymous corporation. Which, technically, isn't wrong. I watched them through the security cameras, not invasively, just the normal monitoring we did of public spaces. There was Mom, posing by the infinity pool in a designer swimsuit she'd probably bought specifically for this trip. Dad was indeed at the pool bar, looking more relaxed than I'd seen him in years. Kyle's kids were building sandcastles while Brooke supervised and Kyle floated in the ocean. They looked happy. Genuinely, completely happy in a way I rarely saw them. And they were experiencing this happiness in a place I'd built, surrounded by luxury I'd created, being served by staff I'd hired and trained. The irony was overwhelming. Day 2 brought more Instagram posts. Wake-up call, ocean waves and room service breakfast. This place is pure magic. I spent the morning working in my office, handling calls with investors in Chicago and reviewing expansion plans for our newest property in Florida. Every so often, I'd glance at the security feeds to see my family enjoying amenities I'd personally designed. Around 2 p.m., Marcus knocked on my door. "Boss, we might have a situation with your family." My blood ran cold. "What kind of situation?" "Nothing bad. Actually, it's kind of funny. Your mom has been asking the concierge about meeting the owner. She wants to compliment the resort personally and apparently ask about possible business partnerships for her influencer brand." I nearly choked on my coffee. "She wants to meet the owner?" "She's been telling everyone she's a social media influencer with 50,000 followers, and she thinks she could help promote the resort. She's convinced she can set up some kind of partnership deal." The audacity was breathtaking. The woman who'd dismissed my business as little was now trying to leverage her Instagram following to get special treatment at a resort she didn't know I owned. "What did you tell her?" "That the owner rarely meets with guests, but we'd pass along her information. I figured you'd want to decide how to handle it." I thought for a moment. This was an opportunity one hadn't anticipated. "Set up a meeting. Tomorrow at 4 p.m. in the main conference room. Tell her the owner has agreed to meet with her to discuss potential partnerships." "Boss, are you sure about this?" "Very sure. This is going to be educational for everyone involved." That evening, I watched from my office as Mom prepared for what she clearly thought was a business meeting that would change her life. She'd brought her best outfit, her professional portfolio, probably her whole pitch about the value of influencer marketing. She had no idea she was about to pitch her excluded daughter on a business partnership. The next afternoon, I put on my best business attire, a tailored navy suit that screamed executive authority, and made my way to the conference room Marcus had prepared. I'd thought about this moment for 24 hours, and I knew exactly how I wanted to handle it. At exactly 4 p.m., Marcus knocked on the conference room door. "Mrs. Parker? The owner will see you now." I heard her excited voice thanking him, the click of her heels on the marble floor, the rustle of her portfolio as she organized her materials. The door opened, and Mom walked in, her professional smile bright and confident. She was looking down at her phone, probably checking her reflection or reviewing her notes. "Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me. I have to tell you, this resort is absolutely incredible, and I think there's tremendous potential for." She looked up and saw me sitting at the head of the conference table. The words died in her throat. Her face went through a series of expressions I'd never seen before: confusion, recognition, shock, and finally, something that might have been fear. "Hello, Mom." For a full 30 seconds, she just stared at me. Her mouth opened and closed like she was trying to speak, but no words came out. "Please, sit down. I understand you wanted to discuss a business partnership." "Amelia, what? How are you? What are you doing here?" "I work here, Mom. Actually, I own here." "You own what?" "Serenity Cove Resort. The entire property. The resort you've been dreaming about for 3 years, posting about for the last week, calling pure magic on your Instagram." "I own it." She collapsed into the chair across from me, her portfolio falling to the floor and scattering her carefully prepared marketing materials. "That's impossible." "Is it? You told me you couldn't afford to include me on this vacation because of how expensive this place is. Did you ever wonder who set those prices? Who created the experience you've been raving about? Who hired the staff that's been taking such good care of you? Your little business." "My little business owns this resort and 22 others. My little business employs nearly 50 people and generates millions in annual revenue. My little business made it possible for you to have the dream vacation you're currently posting about." The color had drained completely from her face. She looked like she might faint. "I don't understand." "What don't you understand, Mom?" "The part where you assumed I was unsuccessful because I don't fit your definition of success? The part where you excluded me from family memories because my lifestyle doesn't match your Instagram aesthetic? Or the part where you're now sitting in a conference room trying to pitch a business partnership to the daughter you left behind?" "We didn't leave you behind. You told me there wasn't room for me. In a resort with 147 rooms. You said I'd feel like a fifth wheel at a family vacation because I'm not married. You dismissed my career as a hobby. And now you're here, in my resort, trying to leverage your social media following for special treatment, completely unaware that you're talking to someone you considered too unimportant to include in your family plans." She started crying. Not the gentle, elegant tears she used for social media sympathy. Ugly, devastating sobs that shook her whole body. "Amelia, I'm so sorry. I had no idea." "No, you didn't. You had no idea because you never bothered to learn. In 5 years, you've never once asked me specifics about my business. You've never visited my office, never shown interest in my work, never acknowledged that maybe I knew what I was doing when I left home and started my own company. I thought you were just getting by. You never said. I never said because you never asked. And when I tried to tell you about my successes, you changed the subject or found ways to diminish them. Remember last Christmas when I mentioned closing a major deal? You said that was nice and then spent the next hour talking about Kyle's promotion to assistant manager. The truth was hitting her in waves. I could see her replaying conversations, remembering dismissals, realizing how thoroughly she'd misunderstood her daughter's life. "What do you want from me?" "Nothing, Mom. Absolutely nothing. You made it clear that I don't fit into your family narrative. You excluded me from making memories because my success doesn't look like what you expected success to look like. So I'm not asking for anything from you. But you're letting us stay here." "Of course I am. You're my family, even if you don't treat me like family. You're getting exactly the vacation you planned, exactly the luxury experience you wanted. The only difference is now you know who made it possible." She was quiet for a long time, staring at her hands. "Your father doesn't know?" "Nobody knows. This conversation is between us. What happens now?" I stood up, smoothing my suit jacket. "Now you go back to your vacation. You enjoy the resort, take your pictures, make your posts. You have the family time you wanted with the people you chose to include. And maybe, if you're capable of it, you think about the fact that the daughter you left behind built the paradise you're enjoying. Amelia, please. Let me make this right. How? By retroactively inviting me to a vacation that's already happening? By pretending you didn't choose Kyle's comfort and Paige's boyfriend over your daughter's inclusion? By acknowledging my business now that you need something from it? I don't know. Tell me how to fix this. I looked at her for a long moment. This woman who'd given birth to me, raised me, and then systematically dismissed everything I'd become because it didn't match her expectations. Mom, the fix isn't something you can do in a conference room. The fix is years of seeing me as I actually am instead of as a disappointment. The fix is being proud of my success instead of embarrassed by my singleness. The fix is including me in family memories because I'm your daughter, not excluding me because I don't fit your Instagram aesthetic. Can we try? Can I learn to do better? That's up to you. But it starts with understanding that I don't need your approval or your room in your vacation plans. I built this life myself, and I'm proud of it. If you want to be part of my life, you need to see that life clearly, not through the filter of what you wish it was. I picked up my portfolio and headed toward the door. Amelia, wait. I turned back. I love you. I know I haven't shown it well, but I do love you. I love you too, Mom. That's why this hurts so much. I left her in the conference room and went back to my office. Through the security monitors, I watched her sit there for another 20 minutes, staring at nothing, processing everything that had just happened. When she finally left the conference room, she walked slowly, like someone who'd just had their world turned upside down. The rest of their vacation continued as planned. Dad and Kyle and the kids were oblivious to what had happened. They enjoyed the beach, the restaurants, the activities. Mom participated but was quieter, more thoughtful. She still posted on Instagram, but the captions were different. Less boastful, more grateful. Instead of living our best life, she posted grateful for beautiful moments and important realizations. I didn't interfere with their vacation. I let them have the experience they'd planned, the family time they'd wanted. The only difference was that now one of them understood the full cost of what they'd chosen. On their last day, Mom left an envelope at the front desk addressed to the resort owner. Inside was a handwritten letter. Dear Amelia, I don't have the words to express how ashamed I am of my behavior. You have built something incredible, and instead of celebrating that, I dismissed it because it didn't match my narrow view of success. You are accomplished, independent, and strong in ways I never recognized or appreciated. I excluded you from this vacation because I was worried about appearances, about how my social media followers would perceive our family if you came without a partner. I put my online image ahead of my daughter's feelings, and there is no excuse for that. You created this beautiful place, this magical experience that has given our family such joy. The fact that you did this while we were treating you as less than you are makes your generosity even more meaningful. I want to learn to see you clearly. I want to celebrate your success instead of diminishing it. I want to be the mother you deserve, not the one who's so focused on appearances that she misses the incredible woman her daughter has become. I hope you'll give me the chance to do better. All my love, Mom. P.S. I've deleted the Instagram posts about wanting to meet the resort owner. Some realizations are too personal for social media. 3 months later, Mom called me. Amelia, I've been thinking about our conversation at the resort. Have you? I want to visit Atlanta. I want to see your office, meet your employees, understand your business. Really understand it, not just pretend to understand it. Why? Because I realized I don't actually know my daughter. I know the version of you I created in my head, the one I was disappointed in. But I don't know the real you, The one who built a successful company and owns beautiful resorts and clearly has her life together in ways I never recognized. It was a start. She came to Atlanta the following month. I gave her a tour of my office, introduced her to my team, showed her our portfolio of properties. She asked questions, real questions about market strategy, expansion plans, the challenges of the hospitality industry. She took notes, not for Instagram, but because she was genuinely trying to understand. At dinner that night, she said something I'd never heard from her before: "I'm proud of you, Amelia. Not proud of you despite your choices, but proud of you because of them. You saw an opportunity, took a risk, and built something remarkable. I should have been celebrating that all along." The changes weren't immediate or perfect. Old patterns die hard, and it took time for her to stop seeing my singleness as a failure or my independence as stubbornness. But she was trying, really trying, to see me clearly instead of through the lens of her expectations. This past Christmas, she posted a photo of me in my office with the caption, "So proud of my daughter Amelia, who owns and operates multiple luxury resorts across the Southeast." She took a risk, followed her vision, and built something incredible. It was the first time she'd ever publicly acknowledged my business success. The first time she'd presented my career as something to celebrate rather than something to tolerate. We started doing mother-daughter trips, just the two of us, to my different properties. She'd get the full VIP treatment, not because she was an influencer, but because she was the mother who was finally learning to see her daughter clearly. The resort where it all started, Serenity Cove, became our special place. We'd go there twice a year, just to talk, to continue building the relationship we should have had all along. Dad and Kyle were slower to understand what had changed, but they followed Mom's lead. When she started talking about my business with pride instead of dismissal, they started paying attention too. Kyle even asked me for advice when he was considering starting his own consulting firm. Paige was the hardest to reach. She'd been the golden child for so long that Mom's newfound appreciation for me felt threatening to her. But even she eventually came around when she realized that Mom loving me more didn't mean she loved Paige less. As for family vacations, we still take them. But now the planning includes everyone from the start. And when we stay at my resorts, it's not a secret. It's a source of family pride. Last year, we went back to Serenity Cove for our annual trip. This time, all of us were there, me included. We took the family photo Mom had wanted, everyone together in paradise. But this time, the paradise meant something different. It wasn't just a luxury destination we were lucky enough to afford. It was a symbol of what happens when family members are allowed to shine in their own way, when success is celebrated instead of diminished, when love includes acceptance instead of conditions. Mom posted that photo with a caption that still makes me emotional: "Family vacation at Serenity Cove Resort, owned by my brilliant daughter Amelia." Sometimes the most beautiful destinations are created by the people we love. So grateful for second chances and clearer vision. Sometimes being left out of family moments is the universe's way of showing you that you don't need their validation to create something beautiful. My family thought they were excluding me from paradise, but they were actually vacationing in a paradise I'd built. The best revenge isn't hurting the people who hurt you, it's succeeding so thoroughly that they can't ignore your worth anymore. Have you ever been underestimated by your own family? Have you ever had success that others dismissed until it benefited them? Drop your stories in the comments, I read every single one. If this story of family redemption and hidden success resonated with you, smash that like button and subscribe for more tales of people who built their own paradise while others weren't watching. Until next time, remember, your worth isn't determined by who includes you, it's determined by what you build when you're on your own.